Everybody, welcome to Bridgewalkers. Oh my gosh, you guys, we have such a great show for you guys. We have very special um, guests here. We have Rev Ned, who's not a guest, he is a co host. And Rev Ned, I'm so honored to do this with you. This is such a beautiful show. We always hold
Yes.
such sacred space here, and it
Yeah.
means so much to me to get to join with you. And then we also have Dana Sparks, aka Sparkles, who's going to share with us some of his sacred songs for Rev Ned as we celebrate his anniversary. So welcome,
Yes.
Dana.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited. I've been wanting to hear you for a very long time, and so I'm really honored to be here with you as well.
I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you so much. It's so cool. So, Dana, what we're going to do is we're going to start with you singing the blessing song to start us out, and then RevNed has a beautiful video to share with us.
Sounds
And then
good.
we'll hear Rev's story. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds sparkling.
It sounds sparkling to me too.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, sir.
Way yo 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 hey yo yo way yo way hey ya way yo yo oh yeah
Wow.
oh say my life oh say my life oh say my life oh yeah wild way yo hey away way oh yeah why hello there we go.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
I never know how things are going to come out. Sometimes it's every journey is a song. Every song is a journey, and like it, I feel neurologically related to everything when in that process.
You can feel it.
Yeah, it was very
Oh
powerful.
my
Very
God.
powerful, moving energies.
Oh my
Thank you,
gosh.
Sparkles. Wow.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. I am so moved by that.
Aw.
Ooh. I just want to sit here in the magic of that song for a moment.
Yes.
It's just so beautiful. Thank you.
It's a room maker. It's a room
Ooh.
maker, spiritually speaking.
Oh man. So beautiful. And I just invite everybody who is watching, just take a nice deep breath and just breathe. Ooh, breathe that in. That is so very powerful. You can feel spirit moving already in that song and through you, Dana, and through the energy of all that this is about.
Yes.
And not just the show, but throughout everything. It's like, oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And so now Rev Ned made a video to share with us too that I'm going to share with you guys. And his videos are so amazing. When I started this show with Rev Ned, he was like, I want to do videos. And I was like, that's a cool idea. Well, he didn't tell me that his videos were going to be yet again like your song, Dana, like a journey through life. It's just amazing. So I'll try not to cry on this one, but I can't promise anything. So let's go ahead and start that. Everybody just take a nice deep breath. because we're going in.
Sacred greetings and beautiful high energies to each one of you from here at Houston Woods Covered Bridge. Here's another video for Bridgewalkers where Michele and Rev Ned come together in good ways to think about our own bridges and to build our own bridges to cross and become one with one another, and to share about building bridges within ourselves and beyond with the cosmos. This evening's Bridgewaters program for you is on the topic of near-death experience. Before I share more on near-death experience, this perspective of this Houston Woods Covered Bridge demonstrate how useful bridges are. If this bridge was not here, how would you have to go to cross? You'd have to go down the bank, cross the creek where there's usually lots of water, and up the other bank. Very difficult to do. So the bridges we can build within us and beyond us can save energies and time and assist us on our spiritual journey in very fruitful ways. For example, we can build a bridge between our hearts and our brain. If we do this, it is something so wonderful and so powerful. You see, a pure loving heart bridged with the mind that is transformed in pure love is a powerful force in the universe. Many describe a near-death experience as a tunnel, which I cannot argue with, but my near-death experience was a rotating tunnel that was going in a Heyoka direction, which is counterclockwise direction. But I saw it as a bridge going from point A, third dimension, to point B of higher energies of divine cosmic embrace. For Rev Ned, I knew about my crossing 17 months before it happened. When I crossed over in the back of the Lie Squad, I was on a bridge to go to Grandpa's Fool's Crow's place. He was a Lakota holy man who crossed over November 27th in 1989. Whenever I'd visit Grandpa in these higher dimension places, which I call his home, I've always crossed a small bridge before getting to his cabin. And the bridge has water and fish in it. It was a form of cleansing before I met him. Then after his sacred words to me, he sent me on, which means I was on another type of bridge to arrive at the tunnel bridge. I was there for 3 hours walking around enjoying the pure love energies. I was on the east end of the bridge, and as I walked to the west end of the bridge, the energy shifted to higher divine colors and energies of pure love. You see, beautiful ones, up to my near-death experience, I taught on pure love for 36 years. Yes, through meditation and ceremonies and visitations, I've experienced higher density experiences of pure love. My near-death experience was not a total shake-up in a lifestyle, but a confirmation for me and an opening of many bridges to cross and utilize. So when I arrived in and on this tunnel bridge, it was truly confirmation of all that I've done and taught. To this day, there are no human words that can describe this pure love that saturated me for 3 hours. After the third hour and final hour, I turned around and walked on this bridge in an easterly direction, and instantly I was back in my body, which means I traveled on another bridge back to my 3D body. We are here under this bridge because my near-death experience was opening my vision to the importance of bridges within me and beyond. Every one of us have bridges within us and outside of us. This near-death experience was the purest of loves I've ever experienced in this incarnation. Yippers, it was like home, 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 home. I saw little people, my gnomes from the sacred hood up there, and ancestors, and a Franciscan monk, and a Navajo friend, and the Creator. Remember, these higher density lights and energies just kept intensifying the more that I went west. Very comforting, very confirming, creating incredible awareness within me. What all happened before the near-death experience to prepare me? Why did I come back? What has transpired since I've come back from that November 29th, 2018 near-death experience? Have I changed, transformed? How did this near-death experience impact my daily journey in this thing we call life? Stay tuned, awesome one. Beautiful souls of the more, You are a bridge to all that is. This bridge reminds me of the importance of bridges in your life and in my life. Your bridge to love and light and to the cosmic more, no matter what is going on in our lives. Beautiful energy, embrace you in delightful ways. Thank you for being here with us on Brigewalkers. Enjoy our program this evening. Take care.
I think you're muted.
Mike.
There you go.
We still
There
get the
you
gist
go.
of it. Thank you. I do that all the time. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was so beautiful. It's so powerful, the concept of bridges and the message that bridges have for us, Ned. Oh, thank you, Jules. Okay, good. So yeah, thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And RevNed, your journey was such a powerful one. And it's not been that long ago. You said it was 2018. It hasn't been that long ago. And I know you've shared with me some of the experiences that you've had since then.
Yes.
And so I'm going to let you go ahead and share. I'm going to step to the side and let you share what you feel is important for the show, because it's so powerful and it's so beautiful, and how you've learned and grown and learned to be a bridge walker.
I want to ask people if they have questions, because I think what I want to do is just answer those questions that I presented on the video. And then if people have questions to ask, to be aware of. But I think the very first thing that's important, one of the questions is, what'll happen before the near-death experience? And I have 2 type pages of things that happened a year and a half that planned for me to experience this. Most people have a near-death experience, but they didn't know 17 months ahead of time. I knew. Excuse me. And 17 months ahead of time, there was this elderly, wise Franciscan monk that wore his little Franciscan hat on top, had a cane like me. And I was sitting very, very next to him in a chair. And when he spoke or touched me, this electrical energy went through me. He was so connected. And he touched his heart. I'll start crying. He said, I'm preparing to die with so much love, energy's radiating. And he says, and then he touched my knee. And he said, you need to prepare to die with so much love. And up to the near-death experience, I had taught on pure love for 36 years. I knew something about it, researching, studying, having to live in pure love. Pure love means no conditions have to be met. There's no fear in this love. So we even got our wills changed, knowing this was going to happen. We had, some people call them angels, but this was a very high energy entity that was sitting on the edge of bed one night when I went into the bedroom about the same time that I saw Father Tom. And the wife was sleeping, and I went to sit on my side of the bed, which faces south. Directions are very, very important to me. And he's sitting there dressed in kind of like Western white clothes. And he has his legs crossed doing this and just smiling and beaming at me. Are you ready? You ready to go? And it was like, I thought for, seemed like a long time, but it was probably 10, 15 seconds. I said, no, not yet. And I knew that this was going to happen sometime into the future. There was many, many other signs of doing ceremonies, and I'd get these zippers that come in, these spiritual zippers into my brain and into my heart. So I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know when. It's ironic that Grandpa Foolsco, who I feel very close to and have spirit traveled to, he passed on November 27th, 1989. His anniversary is on the 27th. So when that day came, which is today, I was sitting at the table and working on, we used to have a class called Wokinis that I would facilitate. It was a little bit of a spiritual, we had some Protestants and Catholics and Native Americans and Earth people. It was just people that were just hungry, knowing there was more, which I've taught for years, the more. And I was preparing for a class. It was about 8 or 8:30. And all of a sudden, this isn't something new. They happen at ceremonies. They show up. They've showed up before doing other things. But 5 beautiful little gnomes popped in. They didn't knock, ring the doorbell. They just popped right there by the table. And they were just, I mean, it didn't shock me because I'm used to them. But the look on their face and the energy they were radiating said, this is serious. This is going to be very serious what they have to share with me. And they said, quote, "The dark church spirits desire to destroy you," end of quote. And then they popped out just as fast as they popped in. So this was about 8:30 in the morning, somewhere in there. And so knowing all the stuff beforehand that I was going to die, I didn't know if it was a near-death experience at the time. I just knew I was going to pass away, which is a very important point here. So you live each day preparing, getting rid of stuff, working on expanding pure love, getting rid of all the stuff in the mind, the heart, our inner essence. And here they come, 5 of them, 5 messengers, and to share. And to me, it was like, they didn't say when, but it was like, if they're doing it today, it sounds like it's going to be soon. So I finished working on the study, and the wife and I decided, let's go to Bob Evans and have a late lunch. Some people say dinner. And so it was 2 something that we got there, and we hadn't got our food yet. And we had our water and coffee and crackers and coleslaw. And I was eating them. But what's important here is I have a choking disorder I've had for many years. And I just had a little bit of the coleslaw and the water. I may have nibbled on a cracker, and I was choking. But I knew it was different. It wasn't a physical choking. But the wife thought I was going to, that I was choking, which I've done in restaurants. She's done a Heimlich maneuver on me. So she does that. The assistant manager comes over, Susie, does the maneuver on me. And then I remember passing out. But what was happening? This dark entity that I have wrestled with physically was pressing in on me spiritually, like heavy weight, and grabbing me like in the throat, but spiritually, not physically. But the people thought it was physical. And that's when I crushed to the floor. And when I was laying on the floor unconscious, I kind of woke up, and there was blue shoes, and something said, "That's a police officer." So I didn't know there was fire trucks and another fire truck and a life squad and police. That's cool when you stir the energies of the little town. And it was a police officer that did the maneuver on me, Heimlich maneuver on me. And they loaded me up to the squad, and they sat there, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. If it was a heart, they were going to take me to a bigger hospital, not the local hospital. If it was something else, like something neurological, they would have sent me to the local local hospital. And they just sat there, and the wife was outside in the parking lot, and I know now that she was just, what are they doing? What's happened to him? Is he in there? Is he live? And I had a brand new shirt. It's in my closet in a sacred space, brand new long sleeve shirt, and it was blue. And all I can remember is sitting in the squad, groggy, and they cut my shirt off. And I said, my shirt. And they cut it off the sleeves and down here. And then I heard the word clear. And my body shook, and that's when I left. And that's when I went to see Grandpa Fool's Crow, who I've gone to many times to see spiritually. And he always gave me some words of wisdom. And then he sent me on to what I call the bridge, the tunnel bridge. After it was like, I'm not one to try to figure everything out, dot the I's and cross the T's. I just take it as it is. And if the information wants to come from the cosmos, from creation, that's fine. But why I was taken there first and then on to there was, I kind of know why, and a little, even preparing for this. So I was up there for a good 3 hours after Grandpa sent me to the bridge, to the tunnel bridge. And I will share briefly, and I'll get to these questions. So hopefully we can have some little bit of dialogue that when I got up there, I was in the east, and directions are very, very important to me. And I know I was going to the west, and it was rotating in a Heoka direction, this bridge, this tunnel, which means counterclockwise. And as I got a little further down to the south, this is the south behind me, there was these, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, millions of pictures, and 5 of them were lit up that I could see. There was 2 male on the left. Father Tom, who had passed 2 weeks after I saw him, he was in the middle of one of these pictures, and then 2 ladies on the right side. And those were my ancestors that have been with me in ceremony, that have been with me in drumming circles. They are some of the watchers, and I believe Father Tom has joined that group. So they were there. And as the further west that I looked, like I said in the video, it gets more glorious, more beautiful, more love. I'm getting goosebumps, more love. And it's like, remember, I had taught pure love for 36 years before this experience. And it wasn't like a major wake-up call, because I've been doing ceremonies and having visitations from everywhere. But it was a confirmation for me, and why it was like I still can't put words to the love that I felt. So when I looked back to the east, there was these the same little 5 gnomes, cuter and sparkles than me, that were holding hands and dancing in a counterclockwise direction as the bridge, the tunnel, was going in a counterclockwise direction. And they were reversing the death energies. Okay. And so I continue, I pass the pictures, and I'm walking closer, and it's getting more glorious. Grandpa Fool's Crow would go into the lodge and spirit travel, sometimes be gone 2 days. I was gone just 3 hours. And he describes the lights of Wankataka and Tagashula and the 4 directions and the Earth Mother. And I saw all those lights blending for me together. I saw them as lights. I didn't see a being, but the energy on my feet, around me, all around me, was pure love. It was just pure love. No fear. In pure love, there's no fear. Very, very powerful point. And I looked back, and I have a Navajo friend named Little Buffalo, who was alive on this plane, but he showed up in cartoon form up there. And in so many words, he said, "Get your butt back here. Get your butt back here." So I continued to go straight to the west, and I was this close from stepping over. And this voice said, in love, one more step and you will never return to your body that's down below. And I'm going, wow, decision time, right? Decision time. I had no idea I was gone 3 hours at that point. It was like, because I can remember having my hands in my pocket and whistling. I was home. I was at complete tranquility. That's why I use that word a lot, how tranquil we can be, because we can be like this in this life right now. So I looked around one more time. I saw this amazing love coming off the gnomes because they're holding hands and they're connected, reversing this energy. So I turned around, and the first step to the east, I was back in my body. And I thought I was in a coffin. And I said, where am I? I really did. I was in a CAT machine. They were checking me out. And that female voice says, you're in this machine and you're in McCullough Hyde Hospital and you're doing this and doing that. And I just want to share a little bit more. When I came back, I could hardly walk, stand up. I'd talk like that. I had to process every word. Okay. So here comes the Navajo. About a week before, we had a ceremony in what we call the meadow. And we were leaving, and my friend Little Buffalo kind of honked his horn a little bit, and his wife got out and gave me some Navajo medicine. I don't know what for. Okay. So our daughter Hannah thinks about this, and she ends up calling Little Buffalo. How do we apply this? And said, put it in a mug. This is the mug. It's a wolf mug. I don't know till this day how they mixed this powder. I think it was water. This was the spoon. Okay. And they mixed it. Okay. They brought it into the hospital. Meadow Walker, who is the energy over the meadow, has a feather, a sacred feather, and is chanting and hitting my face. And then the red cloth, this is what we use for prayer ties. Okay. And they tied one of these on each leg, and one of the family members held on to it. They tied one onto each arm, and another family member held on to it. Because I like to spirit travel in ceremony. I just poof. I go. So that's why I was wanting to show that. So our daughter Hannah was applying this Navajo medicine. Let me bring it over here. And this exact mug and the same spoon. And it was amazing. Within 2 to 3 hours, I convinced my wife, I'm fine. I'm better. Go home. Don't spend the night. Because the family had family. They had to leave earlier. But I convinced her to go. Because I was sitting up in bed. I was walking. I was talking normal. But the prayers of the people that knew I was in there, this medicine, these higher energies, we had to keep the hospital staff out. They want to come in and check on this old guy. But it was amazing. It was just everything returned. And the doctor came in the next day, the speech therapist, the physical therapist, the occupational therapist. They couldn't believe what happened. The doctor had to sit down. What happened? Well, you won't believe it, but I want to share this with you, Doc. And I even told him about the little people. And it's just amazing. So one of the questions I had, what happened before the near-death experience prepared me? And I shared a lot of that, but it was very important because I knew I was going to die. I didn't know it was going to be a near-death experience. I just thought I was going to go on to my next stage of growth. Is there anybody have any questions? I can't see where I'm at right now. Any comments?
I don't have anybody who has any questions right now. But I have a question.
Go ahead.
Who is Grandpa Fool's Crow? Is that his name? F. Fool's Crow?
Yes. Grandpa is Frank's Fool's Crow. He was a holy man. Some people say maybe the most holy man in North America in the 1900s. He was a Lakota. He was a Sundance chief and much, much, much more. And the things that he could do, that he's told me when I've been with him, the things that I've read, he was a very extraordinary holy man. Not a medicine man, which he did. He did a lot of curings and healings. And there's a book called Fool's Crow, Wisdom and Power. And I read that every year in the fall to see where I've grown or have not grown spiritually. And I'm almost finished with this fall reading that. And there's another book. Thomas E. Males was a Lutheran pastor who became very close to Frank Fool's Crow. And he's the author of these two books that I'm talking about. But the one it's so good is called Wisdom and Power. And he could do amazing things that we could spend a lot of time on. But he was like confirmation for a lot of the things that has happened to me. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
About Grandpa Fool's Crow?
Yes. And I know that we've talked about him before, but I thought it was important that it was shared here and for the people, because I can feel his presence. I can feel that presence of his awesomeness.
Yes.
I mean, I don't, that's my way of, my California way of saying it's his awesomeness, which is said in the deepest of honoring and respect. Lorelei Drache, her name is Spirit Insight with Lorelei Drache.
She is amazing. She's a near-death experiencer.
Ooh, I love the feeling. Her energy is so beautiful. And she says, I'm curious about the meadow. I speak of it as my special spiritual place, but it keeps coming up. Some have said there's one below the Akashic records. What is the meadow for you?
The one that I was referring to, it's land that Meadow Walker and her husband have. It's very powerful. They put up gates in each direction several years ago. And we blessed those gates. We blessed them. And below all of that, there's this incredible meadow. And I'll just share a couple experiences. I could write a small booklet on our ceremonies in the meadow. But when she plays her flute, and we're in the meadow, the fairies that come, the gnomes that are dancing and happy come. They've had some negative ETs before coming there, before we started doing cleansing, and she was doing cleansing and balancing on the land. But one of the Navajo ceremonies that we did there, we were doing what's called a bear ceremony, and I was remarrying our daughter Hannah and her husband Matt. I'd married them in real lifetime, but I was asked to remarry them within this bear ceremony. So I had a little altar set up, and little Buffalo that I referred to had his little altar set up, and we're in the meadow. And I was kind of sitting over there by the altar when he was doing things. And I just felt in my heart, since I've had some connections with him, I asked the Pleiadians, I said, just bless this. Just bless us. Let's bless this ceremony and this, what we're getting, the ceremony within the ceremony, the wedding ceremony. And when it came time to get by the fire, and it was cold out, and this tube made of something not from this world, and it came from the Pleiades direction. It's the only thing I can say that was in the sky that night. came down and covered them in pure love. And the energy was phenomenal, phenomenal. I'll share one more story about the meadow for her. In September of 2020, she'd asked me to come. We were doing a ceremony, and she asked me to come and do an opening prayer, story, whatever it is. Sometimes I mix it up depending on what I'm told to do. So I, long-winded Rev did a 35-minute opening prayer. And I was doing a cleansing in the same time. And I asked the winged ones to come and to be with us. Okay. So to the east, our backs were facing west. We were around the fire. My back and her back and a couple others, they were behind us. And the whole rest of the night, you'd hear this, this swooshing. And it was so, when you look back, you couldn't see anything, but the energy would smack you. Because I'd asked the unicorns, I'd asked the enlightened beings that have the energy bands that I've seen on their backside. They were there for 2.5, 3 hours after that. And it was the most amazing energies. And we've had so many wonderful things, but the meadow is just that. It's just so many. And there's a well right there by us that has water coming up, creeks. It's just an amazing place for the meadow. I hope that answered her question.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing about that. There's many really sacred places like that, and we can
Oh,
make
yes.
sacred places too. You're talking
Yes.
about prayer, and we have another question for you too. Carol Hartwell is saying, "Thank you for sharing your experience with us." And she's asking, why are the directions so important to you? It's a great question.
It's an excellent question. Ever since I was a kid, directions were important. We had a tree. I was raised in a river town. So you had the east side and you had the west side, and people would do negative things with that, right? And by the river, we had this burnout tree we would call Chip and Dale from the cartoons. That was popular in the time. And you could climb inside that tree and go all the way to the top where it had been burnt because it was blackened. That's the reason why we said. And directions were important as a kid. East side, west side, up in the north. And then my dad actually built that house. And then we moved when I was 16. And I had a place, if anybody knows Henry David Thoreau, I tell people he was my first spiritual advisor. I couldn't get enough of Henry. In high school, in college, I read everything. But his book, his writing, Walden Pond, I had a Walden Pond. And the directions there were very important to me. I used to be very involved in the church. And I would study ancient Judaism. And the directions were very, very important. How the tribes lined up when they would camp, and who was in the north and the south and the east and the west. And there's the scripture, it says that Yahushua would come from the east and go to the west. But if you're in the temple mount, you're in the temple area, the Gentiles are way back here in the east, and then the Jewish women, the more west you go, and then the Jewish men, and the more west you go, there was the holy ones, the priest and the helpers, and everything would turn from like bronze and copper to gold. And then there was the temple, and they opened the door, the big doors, and there would be the glory. So you're going from east to west. And when I was on this bridge, this tunnel bridge, it's the first thing I thought of. Because I'm a sky watcher. Almost most mornings I go, even if it's short, I give thanks to the east, like I did this morning for being here, to the star and all the energies that come with it. And every night, especially when when I can be out there. Sometimes in the winter, I'm bundled up because we live in the Midwest, and I'm always looking in the west for the star to go down. I am a sky watcher, looking for all the sky river connections that are. So the directions are important to me. And if you follow any type of, they were very important when we do ceremonies, what we would set up, north, south, east, and west. And, you know, Dana can speak more about Lakota. I've talked about Uncle Dave, who's like an elder who adopted me. For me, he's that way and has taught me so many things. You have red, black, white, and yellow for the directions. I actually had something here that I've misplaced it to show that. So directions are very important to them. Very, very important to Grandpa Fullscrow. Very, very important where he would put the colors of each one, even on a little altar on the ground. He would do that because of the entities and energies of all the directions. You know, and you call all of them. And again, I saw all these lights of them as he described up there when I was walking. It was like, wow, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave. But when I looked around and saw the gnomes loving on me, and I saw the pictures of everybody, it was like I was being rooted on to come back to be and to teach pure love. And remember, I had taught pure love for 36 years before that. And it's just like, okay, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And all the things that's transpired since then, that experience has helped me. You know, a lot of people know that I had a stroke last year in 2021. And that was just about as touching and spiritual as my near-death experience. And very quickly, I didn't know who my family was. I forgot how to floss, shower. I couldn't text. I couldn't write. And I had this great mystical experience. I was listening to Michelan's music, who's very, very angelic voice. The closest I've heard to the angels that I've heard sing in this dimension many, many times. And then this Merkaba came to the window, this higher entity, spent an hour with me, and then took this pure love and just expanded it. And this is very important, what I'm going to say next. This is one of the reasons something that's transpired since then because of that experience. And this dark entity that I've wrestled with many times. Before my stroke, right behind me is a walkway outside. And I had the stroke and I had no idea where I was at. I was outside waiting for for my wife and our son-in-law to get me in the truck. I couldn't even get in a vehicle to take me to the hospital. I was picked up 3 times by this same spirit that I had described in my near-death experience. But this time he shift into what I knew he was, a reptilian type. But he looks like the devil, what the church says otherwise. He picked me up twice and drew me down twice. Actually, one broke this stone. One time my head hit. And on the 3rd time he had me in his hands, going to throw down. This angelic being with the bands, pure love, pure light came, and the dark one left. The dark one left. And so after the Merkaba made his hour or so visit, I don't know how long it was. It was at night. He left. This entity came back into the room. And here, this is powerful. I said, have a seat. I'm going to love on you. And I know you don't like this energy of love and light. And I just sit there and loved on him. And he got up and left, not out of anger. And it's like, wow. And this entity has not bothered me since. That's how powerful love, pure love, not conditional love, not love with fear, but pure love can be. Just think if we get 10 people, 10,000 people, 10 million people. What if we had 10 billion people? Where could we be without any darkness, because they couldn't take care of our energy. That's why they tried to put us in these 3D cubes all the time. In the fall last year, I had heart problems, and I went into. They said you're either going to get 2 stents or have open heart surgery. You know, yeah, more challenges for Rev Ned. And when I was laying on the table, hopefully getting the stents put in, right? They have to do a little testing before they do that. Who shows up? Gnome number 1 shows up. And there he is, right there. Okay. Then an angel with the energy bands. Then Bigfoot, Sasquatch, somebody that has come to visit me on the back deck of oneness. And then there was a green character. I don't know if he was an elf still or somebody that looked like the avatars. That's what he looked like. It was green but this one had a green hat. And all 4 of them are there smiling at me like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I was just covered again with this pure love from these entities. It was just amazing. Just amazing. Is there any more? Any thoughts or questions?
No, but you have a ton of comments. We've got engaged Reiki here. And they're just saying pure love is so powerful. Lorelei is saying, absolutely love my Sasquatch brethren. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, you know, RevNed, I know there's so much more, and we will continue talking about this too. You have so much to share about all this. You know, it's absolutely profound what you've been through and what you can learn through that. And one of the things that is such a connection between you and I is about a year ago, I was told to bring 1 million I love yous out into the world. And it was like, how in the heck am I going to do that? I was like, okay, you know, how am I going to do that? And I actually created a membership for people to come in, and we all gather together and do different practices, and we share with each other, and we do meditation and prayer together, and to build our love so that when we go out into the world, we're radiating pure love out into the world. And so it's we gather together. And so it's so wonderful because that is the cure for all of it. You know, that is the cure. And that's why the great prophet, the great teacher, Jesus or Yeshua, he said one thing: love one another. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. Well, you kind of do, but love one another.
Yes.
You know, and it's so important. And I think is where all kind of, you know, waking up, and as we're having these experiences and beginning to be able to really share them out into the world, so much of the common denominator is love. And it's so beautiful. I just so appreciate you sharing this, and so appreciate Bridgewalkers. And
You're
talking
welcome.
about love. Yep. Rosie is saying, love thy neighbor. And so speaking about love, we have another love blessing from Dana, who's going to sing us another song. I'm so excited. For those of you that got on a little bit late, you can go back and watch this on the YouTube channel, on the Bridgewalkers show, and listen to the first song that Dana blessed us with. And I about drowned myself in my tears. It was so beautiful. And so I'm bracing myself for this one.
Thank you. Rev, one thing real quick. You may have actually crossed some bridges that day. They just weren't that kind. But you did cross bridges that day. Whether you know, and not that kind. And when we think about, and when, what are bridges are, they will usually they're crossing something, whether it be current or depth. So in both are highly magnetic in experience, and just the nature of all of it. So like, you did cross bridges during that experience, but you did come back from other ones, but like that was an initiation bridge to into the graduation level for what needs to get done. I love you, Rev, for opening, for being who you are. So I appreciate that. So yeah, this is a journey song to honor that. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, oh hey. Trong khâu lâu thời ông na ma wan lâu trong kha su la ya pei la ma ya lâu hai. Zanu pa kile you ha zai wa ke lo tong ka su la ya pe la ma ya lo hai. Trong khâu lâu trời ông na ma wan lâu tong ka su la ya pe la ma ya lo hai. Zanu pa kile you ha zai wa ke lo tong ka su la ya pe la ma ya look up there you go, Rev.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Sparkles.
Oh.
It's so beautiful. It's just like being at home. Oh wow.
Sacred journeys. We're each on these sacred journeys, and thank you. I got a feeling you're going to touch those million hearts, because there's a lot of good things in motion that haven't surfaced yet, and thank you for being who you are. I appreciate that. Both of you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for being here, Dana. And you can come back anytime you want.
Thank you very much.
Such an honor to have you here and sharing the sacred songs. It's truly it's truly an honor. It's truly an honor, and I really appreciate that. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
I know I'm being all girly right here. It just moves me so much. I miss, I spent time with the Lakota, and I have, I'm half Cherokee, and my grandfather taught me so much stuff in the sacred songs, and I haven't heard them in so long. And to hear them, it's the sound of home. And so I really appreciate it. It's so beautiful. And so we want to thank
Michele.
They leave us centered. They bring us into this center, and we can't help but feel all the right space in every direction.
Yeah.
This is water that I prayed over before the program. And there's pieces, you can't see it. Pieces of, maybe you can't, sage in there that I put for you and Sparkles, for the people that would be here now, for the people who will see it later, and for all that is, and for the entities and energies in the west and the north and the east and the south, and the Earth Mother and all her children, and the Creator and the sky rivers. So I want to drink one drink for all, to say thank you for your part in Bridgewalk, Walkers, and thank you for people that are here, and for Dana.
Oh. So many blessings. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's so magical. Bridgewalkers is such a beautiful show, and we're going to keep doing them. Rev Ned has agreed to continue moving into 2023. So I'm really excited and really honored to be able to share this. And we'll get Dana back. Don't worry. So
Sounds
many
good.
blessings to everyone. We're so grateful for you.
Yes, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And just know that your essence, your true center is pure love. It's all that you are. And just find your way there and stay there because it's beautiful and powerful. So
Yes.
blessings and blessings. And, you know, if anybody you know wants to, or that this would be a blessing to them, you know, please share this with your friends, family, with whoever would really like to or be blessed by this show, because that's why we do it, is to bring blessings and bring that love out. So thank you, everybody. Everybody be good. And as I sign off everything, stay sparkly. We love you guys.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.